Welcome to the fastest growing radio audience in America. From the city of entertainment, you are listening to Las Vegas Backstage Talk, the only show that gets personal with the stars.
Hey, hey, and we are back with Jarrett and Raja, and they were Howie Mandel's wild card pick on America's Got Talent, and we watched them last week, and oh, fantastic. But I also want to thank Paulie Shore again for that last segment. I just heard him screaming in my ear. It's a paranoid thing that I have. So, Jarrett and Raja, congratulations. America's Got Talent. What has this done? Does it mean everything to you?
Of course it does.
We redeemed ourselves.
Yes. It was very important to do the wild card, and we were just so happy that Howie chose us.
When we got
that.
the call for the wild card, he started dancing in the house, and it was just a sight to see.
Yeah.
So were you shocked that Howard Stern said you got robbed and felt that you should have won and talked to the press?
Was I shocked? I wasn't shocked.
You weren't.
Are you
were not
crazy?
shocked.
No, I was shocked of kind of what happened.
Really?
You know? A little bit. Yeah.
I expect everything to go haywire, and when things go right, I'm shocked. And that's the truth. I'm not kidding. I never expect things to go right. Never.
Yeah. Well, and on America's Got Talent, you never know.
Oh,
you know?
More than you never know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's absolutely crazy, isn't it?
It is. It absolutely. You've got to really hold it together on all seams of your body have to be tight because it's quite an experience.
Explode.
Yeah, it is. You're being pulled every which way at all hours of the day and night, and you really have to have a level head on what's going on.
Absolutely.
So especially that moment when you're on stage and they're like, "Okay, here's the verdict," and you're
Nick
waiting.
Cannon waits
Oh,
for
isn't
half
that
an
awful?
And
hour.
you're waiting, and it's an eternity.
I'll bet it is. It seems like an extreme eternity on television. I can imagine what it actually feels like when you're standing there.
Exactly.
So they torture you on purpose.
Oh, definitely.
So, how did you feel about America's Got Talent prior to you going on the show? Were you bitter like I was? I mean, not for nothing, but until a show is good to me, I think they're horrible.
Well, first of all, we've heard of all the stories, from lots of
everyone's got
friends, and
stories.
everyone has stories.
And
all.
I got a story.
But,
yeah.
at the same time and all, if you really think about it, to us, since we hadn't experienced it, it is a story. So we don't really know the truth about what was going to happen. And the odd thing about us is we went into with it with all these expectations of all this craziness, this like, oh, they're going to do this, they're going to lie about this, they're going to do this or whatever.
They
and
didn't?
none of that happened. We didn't see any of that happening to us, and
Did you see it happening to anyone else? Okay, case closed. You know what? The truth is always in the hesitation.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what I'm surprised about. The fact that you two are allowed to go on interviews this soon after doing the show. What's
Are we
that
allowed
about?
to? I'm not sure if we're allowed to.
I don't think you're allowed to.
Oh, cancel.
I think you're not allowed to because I did the show the first season and they made me sign a mountain of paperwork.
Yeah.
Right.
A mountain.
Of
I
course.
mean, all saying how I could get sued if I say anything about America's Got Talent and what really goes on. Mm-hmm. I'm not bitter.
This interview should be about your story.
Exactly.
No. I don't want to get sued. No, it's you that's getting sued.
Well, a lot has changed over the years and all, I think. And, like I said, you have to understand something else, too. For the first time ever this year, the entire production was moved over to New York, New Jersey area, which was huge for the show because it was going on unmarked territory. So there was, a lot of
that's
issues that
good.
they had
Okay.
to deal with all of that.
Yeah.
And all of that basically because of Howard Stern,
Yes, because that's why what's her name's leaving the show.
Sharon Osbourne.
Sharon Osbourne is
Right.
leaving the show is because she doesn't want to go to New York.
Because obviously it's a lot easier to move an entire America's Got Talent show to New Jersey rather than just a little radio show to L.A. Whatever.
Of course. Makes sense to me.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
Go Howard.
So what was it like hanging out with Sharon backstage? Who was what you didn't expect them to be out of the judges, the three judges? Howie Mandel, Sharon Osbourne, Howard Stern.
We did not know Sharon well before this. I did not expect her to be so hard to reach.
Really?
during the competition.
Now, why did you need to reach her?
Well, she's one of the 3 judges.
I don't understand.
We definitely felt she.
You need to explain that.
Well, I think basically what you're saying is that on the judges' comments and all, Sharon was really the one that was more reserved about what we were doing.
Yeah.
And
not just reserved, but slightly negative.
But don't you think she had to be? Don't you think that was her job to be? There's always one that is kind of assigned that.
Not
I mean, to
necessarily.
balance things out.
Yeah,
you
not
know.
necessarily. If you look at her reaction to other acts, she was quite positive.
Well, you
Quite
should have brought a pet,
I know,
a dog
right?
or
I know,
something.
or a baby.
Don't you feel that don't you feel right?
This is our baby. You can't say anything bad. yet.
Actually, I don't think she would react well to a baby. She doesn't sound to me like a baby person. But if you had a little woof woof with you, I think that
Easily arranged.
it's a lock.
Right.
I mean, it's a lock with her.
They rent those, don't they?
But you say that Sharon was not available when you wanted to reach her.
She was just hard to get when we performed. She was more critical. She had comments that were not always nice. Whereas Howie clearly loved us, clearly saw our artistic vision. Howard Stern we adore because the guy just tells it like it is. There's no BS there. He's honest. He's forthright, and we really understood that whatever he says, it's the truth. And we would talk to him backstage after shows sometimes, and he would say great things like, "I'm rooting for you guys. I want a magician to win this competition. You guys can do it. Don't disappoint me." And this is Howard Stern saying, "Don't disappoint me."
There.
No pressure.
No pressure there. So when things went wrong for you on that one, the one before the wild card,
right.
Things went wrong. You had no idea that things went wrong for you.
Well,
you were shocked by it.
Well, I was shocked. Well, hence, let's go back to Sharon.
Okay,
Because
it's Sharon's fault.
her
It's
comment,
all Sharon's fault.
her comment were the feet. It's
The
all
feet.
about the feet.
But I can see your feet, boys. You need bigger towels.
Oh,
We're like, Sharon,
that's great.
it's not really about the feet. Where did the people come from in the shower? Never mind. That's okay.
Yeah, you guys looked stunned. You looked so stunned by the response.
Deer in headlights. Yeah, all that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see, and I felt for you guys. I was just like, wow, because I've had disasters happening on national television also.
Right.
Mine, they didn't air. I was upset at the time. Now I'm very grateful.
Right, right.
But I can understand what that must feel like is the anxiety and to go off on a note like that.
Well, exactly. And also, we were still very proud about the piece. Never have neither one of us have ever said, we shouldn't have done that
So
or
you
whatever.
didn't look back at the footage and say, damn, we shouldn't have done that.
No, because the magic element was not exposed.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter if you see feet.
Right.
It's not about the feet.
Well, that's
Right.
why Howie defended you.
Exactly.
Howie
That's right.
said you got
Exactly.
a bum rap because he realized that something's missing here.
It's not about the feet, but it's about where the people came from in the shower, and that went off great. So magically, and in fact, performance-wise, we felt very good about it, which is why we were stunned by the reaction.
So
Now-
what
now
do you
one-
explain to the audience?
Okay,
though? Explain that.
Because, and Raja says this very well because he is the musician on it, and the point is that we felt that it was more of the music. The music choice is what we felt actually turned with the audience. Because if you watch that show on any of the artists and all, you're dealing with very contemporary music pieces, and that's what you've got to have on America's Got Talent.
And it's television.
We went a little bit,
Artsy
You
fartsy.
know,
artsy-
it's cheesy.
We went artsy
as she
fartsy.
said, Sharon.
Yeah.
Cheesy.
Yeah.
Right. You do the voice better than me. But we have.
It was as camp as Christmas, boys.
Yes.
I'm like,
Well,
really?
We have 1 minute to close. Let me tell you, I am so happy to have you here, and I'm so sorry we have such a tight show because we have comic actor Gary Owen coming on next, and I can't wait to talk to him. But you guys are coming back, yes?
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Because you live here in Las Vegas.
Yes, we do. Awesome.
And I have so much more to talk to
There's
you
a lot more to
about.
say.
Jared and Raja, you did awesome. Congratulations.
Thanks so much. Had a great time.
Thank
From
you.
the City of Entertainment, you've been listening to Las Vegas Backstage Talk with your host, comic Michele LaFong, the only show that gets up close and personal with the stars. So until next week, stay in touch with us on the web at LasVegasBackstageTalk.com.